I was looking at these people, and I just said to myself, liar, proven liar, proven liar, proven liar. So there was Susan Rice, and she was castigating Trump and Tulsi Gabbard. And I said, wait. Why should I believe you? You lied about Benghazi and said it was just an impromptu fit of anger over a video when it was a pre-planned Al-Qaeda-related terrorist operation that was due to your lax security as National Security Advisor. You lied about WMD. You said we took care of it in Syria. It's all gone. No, they killed civilians after you said that. You told us that Bo Bergendahl acted honorably. No, he was a traitor, a treasonous, deserter. He endangered the lives of people in his unit. You've lied about this. You went on the talk shows and you lie. Why should I believe you now? Then the next person was James Comey. And I thought, well, wait a minute. The last time I saw you, you lied about just stumbling upon seashells on gee, Jack, I just happened to see 8647 on the, I saw one about Harris not too long ago. That was interesting. I took a picture. I didn't know what it meant. That's James Comey. 245 times he said, I don't remember. He looked at Donald Trump in the eye and he said, you are not the subject of a FBI collusion investigation when it was already full blast. Why do I believe him now? And then I thought, there's Andrew McCabe. He's on there criticizing Tulsi. Wait a minute, Andrew. You lied 4 times, according to Michael Horowitz. 3 times you lied under oath that you didn't leak. You're a proven liar. And I don't know why Bill Barr let you off, but he did. But that doesn't mean you didn't lie. So why would we believe you now? So then Jeffrey Toobin's on there, and he says that Donald Trump is blah, 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 and Tulsi Gabbard, blah, blah. And I thought, well, wait a minute. You were on Zoom, and you were self-abusing yourself, and you claimed that you didn't know that the camera was on. You're the expert on Zoom, so you're not telling the truth. And then there was Clapper. And I thought, wait a minute, why would we believe you? You said that Donald Trump was a Russian puppet. You were the one that said the NSA doesn't spy on. And then there was Brennan. I said, Brennan, you just lied and said you'd never looked at the Steele dossier. That's demonstrably untrue. You lied and said you never spied on Senate staffer computers. You lied when you said there was no collateral. They were all liars, is what I'm saying. And yet they put them on there and we're supposed to. So I just said, why would we believe any of them?
What Victor Davis Hanson identifies here isn't merely institutional failure. It's the complete inversion of the Weberian concept of legitimate authority. When Comey, Rice, and McCabe weaponized federal apparatuses, they shattered what political scientist Francis Fukuyama calls institutionalized trust, the bedrock of democratic governance. This represents a textbook case of what Robert Michaels termed the iron law of oligarchy, where administrative elites begin serving their own class interests rather than democratic mandates. The FISA abuse, the Russia collusion narrative, the Hunter Biden laptop suppression. These weren't isolated incidents, but systematic applications of what Carl Schmitt warned about. The sovereign power to decide the exception. They decided constitutional norms didn't apply to them. Historically, this mirrors the Praetorian Guard's gradual usurpation of Roman imperial authority. Once the bureaucratic class believes it knows better than the demos, Republican government becomes a theatrical performance while real power operates through parallel structures.
47% of Americans now rate the economy as excellent or good, up from just 36% in April. Meanwhile, those saying the economy is not so good or poor dropped from 63% to 51%. Victor, your take on that?
I'm not saying that the unpopularity of the Democrats. There was also a poll by Quinnipiac, that the Democratic Congress was polling 16%. So when you see that 61% of people have a negative view of the Democratic Party and even much less the Democratic Congress, you think, well, Trump was going to get a landslide in the midterm. Not necessarily, because got to remember one thing about polls. It's never about what you think about a particular person or party. It's what you think about a particular person or party in comparison with the alternative. And the alternative has always got to be there, because you'll be misled if you don't think that somebody It depends on that. And I saw another poll with do you have a high regard for the Ivy League? I think it was 20%. And then another poll, do you have a high regard for higher education? It just plummeted. But again, Donald Trump, I was talking not too long ago with some Silicon Valley people, and I was asking about foreign investment, and did they know the ratio of $1 trillion per jobs created? And they quoted some impressive figures. I mean, you're talking about 20 million jobs if you have $10 trillion in investment. But one of the things I said, why are all these people investing here? Why are the Japanese, the Europeans, everybody's promising? I said, well, they're afraid of Trump. The tariffs did make them want to assemble things that'll be tariff-free. But another one said, this wouldn't have happened if Biden had said this, because they didn't trust him. And they thought they would come in here and they would get regulated with climate change regulations and DEI regulations. And they have put up with that in Europe and to a lesser extent in some Asian countries. So they thought if they came here, they could put a plant, they could avoid tariffs, but they would not be hassled. They would call up the government and they'd say, your permit will be expedited. We want you to be successful. How can we help? Whether then, what's the percentage of your workforce? Do you have this? You do this? What type of energy? All that stuff. So I think there's a force multiplying effect with all this stuff. The immigration feeds into the economy.
Here's what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. American confidence in the economy is surging, but you'd never hear about it from CNN or MSNBC. Victor breaks down the real numbers and explains how border security directly impacts economic growth. This isn't theory, it's measurable American prosperity.
Let's destroy Britain. Let's just fast forward 50, 60, 70, 80 years from now, and what would you like Britain to do if you want to destroy it? And you would say, I know what I'll do. I will open the borders, and I will import people from antithetical Islamic cultures that do not want to assimilate, and I will make them 15 to 20% of the population, and in major cities like Manchester or London, maybe 30 or 40%. And then I will create a sense of guilt and shame about the British colonialism and British literature and British universities and everything, and I will make them hate themselves, censor themselves to the point where they'll be impotent to do this. And then I'll say, I will also ensure that they do not utilize their natural resources to the fullest and will go on to renewable energy like the rest of Europe. This is true of Europe too.
Victor's comparison between Britain and America shows the same pattern happening here. America's educated elite have turned against their own country. From universities teaching kids to hate America to corporations pushing guilt about Western civilization, we're watching our own leadership class wage war on American values. This is how civilizations collapse, not from outside enemies, but when the people at the top stop believing their country is worth defending. The question is, will regular Americans let them get away with it?
What we have to remember is that America was uniquely blessed by the founders with something Europe never possessed, a written constitution that explicitly limits government power and protects individual rights. The British have no Second Amendment, no First Amendment as we understand it. They have parliamentary sovereignty, which means whatever 51% of Parliament decides becomes law overnight. We have something entirely different. We have federalism. We have separation of powers. We have a Bill of Rights that says government cannot do certain things, period. When I look at Britain today, with their thought police and their surveillance state, I see exactly what the founders feared most: unlimited government power crushing individual liberty. But here's the thing. The American system was designed by men who read their Thucydides, who understood how republics die. They gave us the constitutional tools to resist tyranny, whether it comes from the left or the right. The question isn't whether we can fight back. It's whether we still have the civic courage our ancestors had. And based on what I've seen from the American people recently. I think we do.
Unlike Britain, America still has the constitutional tools to fight back. We have the Second Amendment they never had, the First Amendment they're losing, and leaders who remember what America First actually means. The establishment media may be compromised, but American voters just proved they can see through the lies. The question is, will we stay vigilant or let America follow Europe into managed decline? If you're tired of being lied to by the same media figures Victor just exposed, this channel gives you the unfiltered truth about what's happening to America. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let us know in the comments. Which of these proven liars do you think Americans should never trust again?